So here's our big 30-gallon Crimson Queen. This one was grafted in 1998, and a friend of mine has been training her for all those years. We've had her for probably the past 3 years, so I kind of took over the pruning, and when I say training, is basically just pruning the tree to get the desired shape that I want. So I came in and kind of opened up that center so you can see that beautiful branching structure that she has. And so she's going to be planted over here where Ethan is standing, right here in this kind of island peninsula area. As you can see, the creek goes all the way around, and in time, Ethan, I believe that since this tree is already substantial in size,
Yeah.
and if we train her, those leaves or those branches are going to go out over that side of the creek as well as on this side here.
Yeah, I mean, that would be incredible if you could just get that to hang over some of these boulders over the creek. I mean, how natural would that look? Even to have that guy?
The leaves are kind of dangling in the water.
Yeah.
It's going to be an amazing piece, and then that fall color, of course, is really going to make it pop. But I think this is the perfect spot because we have just a little bit of light filtered shade from the oak trees and pine trees above. So down here, you know, in zone 8B, it gets really hot during the summertime, and these Japanese maples can show some leaf burn in July and August, especially if they don't have a little bit of afternoon relief from the sun. So I think this is the perfect spot. So what we're going to do here is just come in. I'm going to excavate probably about 8 inches down. We're not going to sink the entire root ball for 2 reasons. One, Japanese maples do not like wet feet at all, so we want to make sure we have her planted up just slightly to give us that good drainage. And then the second purpose is I want to kind of continue with the transition of the natural slope and just make it look like she's been on that mound for a long time. So I brought in some of our good stuff compost that we make. What we're going to do as we excavate that 8 inches or so of soil, we're going to set it to the side, blend it with the good stuff, and then backfill. And then in conjunction with that, we're going to use some of our Spoma Land and Sea. You know, we've been using a lot of that on plantings with great results because we are just adding more microbes. We've already added microbes to our compost, but then a Spoma has their own line of microbes. And as we've said in past videos, the more microbes, the more beneficial to the plant. And then of course, we don't plant anything without our Spoma Biotone starter. This is our fertilizer, as well as beneficial bacteria and fungi that are really just going to give the plant the good jump start that it needs. So we're going to get busy digging right here, and we're going to bring her over and attempt to get her out of that pot.
Right here?
So
where do you want it?
That's what I was just going to look at real quick.
Because you don't want to get too close to this guy, right?
No. I guess since we want to try to reach both sides, I say we just go center.
Okay. Works for me.
Now, all right, so we've got our hole excavated here, piled up our native soil around it so we can easily blend our compost in with the native. We're going to do 50-50 like we always do. And the guys are bringing in Big Mama as we speak. We tried to pick her up a while ago, but she is a big girl.
She's a big girl.
She's a big girl. See if I can get over here and help you a little bit.
Just want to kind of watch things.
Yeah.
Make sure we're not snapping any limbs off or anything.
I think we are just fine.
Yep, now we can go back this way a little bit.
All right, that should be good right there. Now,
I'm gonna lower it down a little bit.
yeah, I just don't know if we're going to be able to manhandle her and get her out of that pot, or if we should just go ahead and cut.
Are you trying to save the pot?
I'd like to. I mean, it's not a crazy amount of money, but
I think we can. What if we get one of our straps, our smaller straps, and like create a noose,
like
basically? Yeah, I mean, there's 4 of us.
Let's try it.
All right.
Before we go cutting this pot, because I can reuse it.
There's a strap over there. I'll grab these shovels here.
I don't think she's going to come out of that pot. All right, well, we gave it an attempt, you know.
But it'll come out now for sure. If we can just cut that side and flip it down, it'll be easy.
And I'll tell you what, this is actually good because what we need to do, I need to put a little compost
Okay.
in the bottom.
Yep.
As well as that biotone.
Mm-hmm. You want to say that to the camera?
I just did.
That's true. Try to stay closer to the edge, not to cut roots. John always tells me there's an easier way.
Yep.
Power tools.
All right, Ethan, I'm gonna dump some of this in there with you.
Go ahead.
Get our...
Unless I need to get in there like a wine press and squish it with my feet.
Squish them around. Actually, we'll just spread it around a little bit.
So why are we doing the compost? What does that do for the tree?
So what this does, this is just going to allow those roots to more easily, find their way into the native soil.
Gotcha.
And it has, the microbes. Espoma adds microbes to all their products.
Okay.
Just like we do.
Gotcha. So would the microbes be similar to like the bacteria that we put in the ponds?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yep. Just in a terrestrial application. And that's what this has in it as well.
Okay.
So this also has organic fertilizer. They use a chicken-sourced organic fertilizer. So the roots will have immediate, food available.
Gotcha.
As well as it just creates a crazy healthy environment for the microbes to live in. The microbes then attach themselves to all these roots and they form hyphae and they actually go out. And the plant sends signals like, whatever nutrient it needs or even water. And they'll bring it back to the plant in exchange for sugar. And it's a symbiotic relationship.
That's pretty cool.
Helps them out tremendously.
Yeah, that's really cool.
All right, so let's see now if we can, we may even have to cut this one more time, John, because I don't know if we're going to be able to, can we peel this down?
They got their side down pretty flat.
Just take that Sawzall maybe.
Just slice it?
Yeah, just whatever you need to do to.
I thought it was getting a little less.
Oops, sorry. No, you're fine. You didn't get me.
Those roots. Pretty. Good job. Didn't touch nothing.
So now, tell you what, let me hold that back one more time.
Split that, probably lift it out of that.
Yeah. Let's go ahead.
Maybe cut that here too.
Trying not to cut too much root.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to stay on the outside too.
She did.
She did. Oh, well. Some of
Just
it
don't let
come
it
down.
cut you.
Yeah.
That plastic will get you.
I mean, we'll probably be able to kind of drag that
I'll tell you what, maybe let's try to go,
down.
or even if you could step on that, possibly, and hold it, and we come off, maybe she'll stay.
You guys gonna pick it in the air?
I
can try
Well,
pulling that thing off the bottom.
let's have, do what now?
If you lift it up, I can try pulling it off the bottom. See the,
Yeah, if we, I don't know if we can pick her up though. I think
What
what
if
we're
we
gonna have to
tip
do.
it and slide it, the thing back, and then we could kind of drop the base into
Yeah,
there.
yeah, we can try that. I got her on my knee, kind of, sorta.
Yeah, I got the top of the tree too.
I got her out.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Let's
what do
go.
we want to do?
Well,
We want to go down to there.
if we can, or have him
Okay.
lower the forks
Lower the fork.
and just
Watch
watch your
our legs.
watch your feet. Yeah, if he can go all the way down, and we'll just slide her into the hole. Yep.
Okay.
Now we can spin her.
We just don't want to fall.
Let me take a look at the tree
Okay. Where you want it?
itself. So I think, Dave, I think this needs to be the back, because this is where I've kind of got a hole, and that way, as people approach, that's going to be your three prettiest sides on there. So let's take this little this dead part right here, we'll face it towards the loader, and then we can go ahead, as we spin her, we can go into the hole.
Okay, so just like that?
Yep.
Okay. only thing we don't want to do is break branches.
Nope.
So we're gonna have to lift.
Yep.
Ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Okay. I am now one with the hoe.
I am too. My foot is under her as well. Big Mama's got me pinned. All right, I'm out. I'm free.
Oh, there we go. Hey, that's just about perfect too.
I like that.
How about from side to side this way?
Straight up and down. From that side, it is still leaning slightly, but it's ever so slightly. Yeah, probably just one handful.
How's that?
All right. But this one was grafted actually in 1998. So she's called Big Mama. That's her name.
Looks like Big Mama's home now. She's
Yep.
not gonna get sold.
Nope, I think Big Mama's gonna stay right here. I was in love with the tree ever since I bought it, so I put a really high price tag on it so I could keep it.
Sure you did.
It's like if somebody wants to buy it, they can have it, but not anymore. She's off the market.
It's home now.
That's right.
Really neat. This is really, really neat.
Y'all should have been here a minute ago. We actually had it running.
Oh, can't you do that again?
Yeah, we can turn it on.
Yeah.
We're told you just
We-
plugged it in an hour
We got
ago.
excited
Hey.
about this thing that picks up the acorns.
Oh yeah. Little
you turn it
roller.
on the string?
That thing's cool. Yeah. Yeah, my parents used to use them out in the yard rolling and picking up pecans. He gonna turn it on? Okay.
Oh,
Do you want me to turn this on, off, or leave it
No,
on?
leave it running. All right, so Ethan, what we're gonna do now, you were talking about these roots, you know, these pretty roots in here. So what I'm gonna do, and what I do with all plantings, is I take my biotone, and if you can get up in here, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so I just take and go ahead and put the biotone in contact with the roots. And that way, if it's out here in the soil, it's fine, but the roots have to actually find the biotone. Whereas this way, we're just going ahead and putting them together, hooking them up,
Gotcha.
and now they can just take off.
Huh.
And-
So, how much is the right amount and how much is too much?
Well, the great thing about it, they do have a scale on the bag, and it shows you how much to put. I apply it pretty liberally. So my rule of thumb is like I usually use about a cup per gallon size.
Okay.
So this is a 30 gallon. I'm going to use this whole bag. This isn't 30 cups, but it's plenty enough to do what we're wanting it to do. The other great thing about it being organic is you don't have to worry about burning your root system,
Gotcha.
because it's not
Can't over fertilize
you
it.
really can't. I mean, sure, if you planted it exclusively in
Yeah,
biotone,
yeah.
you're going to do some damage.
Absolutely.
But you can spread it real liberally. And so I just go along the whole outside of the root ball and just go ahead and introduce all of these beneficial microbes
That's awesome.
to those roots. And now they've already formed their little friendship. And when we put the dirt back and with the organic fertilizer that's already in here too, it's just going to create that rich organic environment. And she should just take off. These roots are going to run, and then she's going to do fantastic right here.
Yeah, sometimes I wonder why we get along so well, but then I hear you talk about what you talk about, and
Yeah.
I talk about what I do, and I'm like, nah.
Yeah, that's
I
why-
mean, just the detail work of like planting something like this, it's so kin to what we're doing and stuff. Like, yeah, you could dig a hole and just throw it in the ground and hope it makes it,
Yep.
you know, but you could also just dig a hole, throw a liner, and throw some rocks in and make a pond. Like,
Exactly, and that's like when you're explaining some of the details of how you're putting these rocks together, like the undercut and you know the details. I don't think about that stuff, but that's your world.
yeah,
Whereas this, you know, the dirt, you know, that's what I love and I enjoy, and yeah, that's what makes the job fun.
yeah, for sure. That's awesome. So after this, we're taking the two soils and we're blending them.
Yep.
Is that right?
50-50. I like to incorporate the native soil back into the planting, and so your native soil has got a lot of elements too, and minerals. You know, your calcium and you know all your micro elements. This does too, but you know, incorporating the two does two things. One, you get the addition of the minerals that are already in the native soil, but then also the roots can kind of get used to being in that type
Okay,
of soil.
so
They
it helps them-
recognize it. That way, when they get out to nothing but native, they're like, "Hey, we know this." And they
Gotcha.
just keep going
Gotcha.
right on.
That's really
Whereas, you know, if you were to use nothing but compost, those roots are kind of want to stay in that zone
cool. Gotcha.
because it's nutrient rich. But when you mix them, it just encourages those roots to go out, which is what we want. That gives you your drought protection, because the bigger the root system, the more, you know, nutrients as well as moisture it has availability to. That's what gives you That's what we call establishing a plant. When a plant's well established, that means it just has an incredible root system. That helps it survive droughts as well as just find all the other nutrients that are out there.
Gotcha, gotcha. That's really cool.
Yep. So what I do, we'll push some of this back, the compost in, and then right on top of that, we'll bring some of our native, and we'll just do that. Now you can incorporate the two off to the side. Go ahead and mix them 50-50. You can kind of layer it like a cake. In this instance, it's more easy just to kind of do it like a cake.
Gotcha, gotcha. All right, well, let me set this back up on time lapse here, and I'll help you out.
All right. Now we can just kind of tamp around here, and she should be happy. Now we'll bring the camera in here real quick just to show one crazy important part about planting a tree, and I preach this every time. Especially with soil, we do not want to cover any of this trunk, any of it. Wherever that root ball was, which is right here, that's the highest point in the soil we want, because the tree actually breathes through this trunk. And if we cover any of that up, it'll for sure kill it. We even have to be careful when we bring our mulch up, how thick we put it and how high up the trunk.
So maybe have your mulch real thin right through this area, not up on the trunk at all.
Exactly, because it'll kill it. Sure, there's anything that's really, in particular with trees, but azaleas is the fastest dying thing.
Huh.
They're planted too deep, it's over.
Done. Huh.
Yep, so just a little,
That's pretty cool.
a little tidbit there.
Pretty cool. Now, how about watering? Once you
Yeah,
get one of these in, what are we looking at as far as how much,
Right.
how regularly when it goes in?
That's a great question. So what we want to do, now we've got rain coming this afternoon, so and we've got quite a bit coming, so I'm probably not going to water this in. We'll judge it by the rain, but in a traditional planting, what you want to do is saturate the entire area after planting. I mean, just drench the entire area, but kind of adding to the point of the compost in that certain area around the root, we don't want to water just around the root ball.
Okay.
We want to water out here because we want to encourage the roots to go out. That's
Gotcha.
the name of the game, is getting these roots to establish themselves.
So kind of evenly watering
Evenly
the
water
whole area.
the whole area. And then this is called your drip line right here. Wherever the outermost leaves and limbs that you have right here, that's our drip line. And so that's very soon, once the roots find their way, that's the active growing portion of the roots, is all along that drip line.
Gotcha.
They kind of follow the tree out, and it makes sense because as rain comes, this is where it's going to drip off. These roots are going to go out in conjunction with the canopy.
That's really cool.
And so that's where you want to fertilize too. Now, we don't want to fertilize this tree. We're December the 9th today. We're not going to fertilize until late February when it starts to grow. And we don't want to encourage any new growth right now because we still got a lot of cold coming, and that new tender growth, if it does get cold, it's going to kill it.
Yeah. So now I think I've heard before, and you can tell me if this is wrong, but is this the best time of year to do a transplant like this and try to plant a Jap maple?
Yes, this is a great time because the tree is obviously dormant, so it has less chance of shock. And then the other great thing is we don't have very cold winters, they're mild. So these roots are going to have time to establish themselves, anchor the plant in for the coming spring, and then more importantly, the coming hot summer.
Gotcha.
If these roots, when people plant in the heat of summer, first you're going to shock the plant, and then these roots aren't established. It can't get the water it needs, and that's why most people lose their plantings in the summer. So that's why it's best to plant when they're dormant, because the roots don't stay dormant. They're growing, especially in the south. Now up north, different story, but down here, the soil stays warm enough to where those roots are actively growing and establishing themselves, and will help secure the future of this tree.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, guys, we're wrapping up the project today. As you can tell, rain has made it a little miserable. It's about 50-something degrees out here. It's cold, getting dark, quitting time. So I just wanted to walk around real quick, show you what we got done today. Along with planting Big Mama, we got a good many of the other shrubs planted. And wait till you guys see this island. How about that right there? Obviously, all the plants aren't in the ground just yet. I began working on planting a few of what Dave selected for us on this outer edge. The Big Mama, she's planted. She's in the ground, ready to go. And then I've just been working on a few of these little smaller 1 and 3 gallons all along the inside of the creek's edge. We did plant a really nice snow on the mountain camellia. If you remember, we planted one of these in our driveway. But all these guys are just looking really good in conjunction with each other. And once, you know, this thing gets a year or 2 of age on it, it's just gonna look phenomenal. But I'll step back a little bit and let you guys see. We turned the creek off for the night, and we'll turn it back on tomorrow. We'll probably put that thing on a timer, not exactly sure. But just look at this creek. I mean, there aren't words. Let me just zoom in a little bit. Look up through there. Isn't that gorgeous? And once all these plants get in the ground and we get this whole thing mulched, it's just going to be, there's going to be something else. I mean, it's going to be a postcard, especially, well, like I say, after it gets a few years of growth on it. That Japanese maple in the fall is going to be a stunner. And Dave put a Sangokaku maple down on that end, so that's your coral bark maple. And I'm just ecstatic about this project, guys. Can't wait for you guys to follow along, watch this thing get absolutely 100% completed, and then watch it grow with us. It's going to be really, really a destination for lots of folks, hopefully. So if you live in the area, come by, say hello, and check this thing out, because it is just it's a stunner. I mean, look at that. And to have this, you know, the ability to have something like this in your backyard, hopefully this will help give you guys some ideas of things that you can do in your yard just to beautify your landscape. So I hope y'all enjoyed that video, guys. Always remember, the more you know, the more you grow. We appreciate you. I'm cold. I'm going to take a hot shower, and we're going to eat some fried catfish tonight. So I'm starving, but now's a good time. If you don't mind, if you hit that like and subscribe down there, we appreciate you, and we love your comments. So drop us a comment if you have any ideas. Feel free to drop them in there too. And other than that, we'll see you on the next video. Thank y'all so much, guys.